Hello and welcome to Knobcat Games Dungeons of the Obelisk podcast. I'm your host, Joe Sleppy. I'm Executive Prime at Knobcat Games. And this show is our audio devlog where we get together every, whenever, and talk about our game, Dungeons of the Obelisk, a 2D turn-based dungeon crawling loot grinding adventure. And I'm joined today by our digital alchemist, TJ Yadacernia.
Hello.
And it's been a while since we did our last podcast. I want to start getting into these more regularly again so that people know we are working on stuff in the background. It's just kind of been hard because we've been not making a whole lot of progress. So we haven't had a lot to talk about, but I think in the future we're just going to jump in on these anyways. But right now, the newest thing we got going on is that it is Spooky Month in Topia.
Yeah, it's once again returned. We got the classic Pumpkinhead making his rounds around town, adding some pumpkins to the land.
Yeah, I wish we could do we could do anything, but it all takes time and effort. But I feel like if Ben redrew the whole map to be autumn,
change up the trees and such.
Yeah, that would be really cool. But for now, we're just doing what we can to give players basically a ton of free stuff on Pumpkinhead's calendar. He doesn't have pants, but he has all kinds of treats to give everybody.
Only question how he carries them around. Maybe just stuffs it all in his pumpkin head.
Yeah, just in his pumpkin head. Yeah, so we have a new calendar. Last year when we did it, we had Brittany make up a calendar and post it on Instagram so people would kind of know what they were getting. I'm not going to do that this year, I don't think, but I will say that, this will tie into our next update bit, but the last day of the calendar is going to be a Starcore. So anybody that's listening is going to want to make sure they get in on the 31st and grab all the rewards from Pumpkinhead.
Yeah, it's a hefty reward that's being offered there, especially since if you don't grab it that day, chance is completely gone.
This year, I think it's going to end. I don't want it to go halfway into November. So I know previous events have carried on a little bit, but this one's probably going to end pretty promptly on the 1st or 2nd, I hope.
Yeah, and with prior updates, they kind of auto end once the month cycle's over, so even if there isn't an update that finds its way through, the calendar itself gets locked down. You're not able to grab anything.
Pumpkinhead rewards, if you log in on the 31st, you can get them all, but if you don't get in on the 31st, then I guess you missed them all. But speaking of that, the Starcore is the ultimate reward this spooky month, and that's something new that we just added in. It's kind of for higher level players, because Starcores only drop in Titan breaches from the boss. So you have to be able to beat a boss on Titan to get them, unless they're, given as a reward somewhere. But I guess we should talk about what they are, which is it's a godly crafting material, which is our first official godly item in the game. And you can use them to increase the major trait on a legendary piece of gear or higher.
I feel like they provide the opportunity to solve the biggest problem with getting gear, because no matter how many times you get gear, if it has the minor stats that you want, but it doesn't have the maxed out major trait, then you're kind of losing out on potential value, and this kind of just allows you to actually bump it up to reach that point.
Yeah, and I think they're going to be rare enough that you still have to pick and choose what you use them on. But if you do find that perfect piece of gear with the minor modifiers, now your major trait isn't, if it rolls super low, that there is a way to eventually make that piece useful. There was a lot of bugs adding it in, though. I feel like we ran into, I think we tested it 5 different builds before we actually got it in, and it's not perfect yet.
Yeah, it was surprising, because it is just a modification of the blacksmith and what was already going on. But even then, having it almost a duplicate provided more bugs than you expect from it. I feel like there was definitely a point in time where my equipment disappeared trying to mess with it.
I know my gear duplicated So like, I'm not sure how I got it to happen. I haven't been able to make it happen again, but I guess if a player is listening and they encounter this, it duplicates what is equipped on my character. And I had to like unequip both items into my inventory, and then when I open and close my inventory, then it like took both of them and made it back into one, and then I could re-equip it.
That's an interesting bug to have, because the blacksmith doesn't do that. We tested the blacksmith extensively and it never happened. So for it to be like a copy of it and then still happen then, it's such a weird issue to have.
It's always something. I don't know. Like, programming is so weird because you can do like everything the same and then it still like has bugs.
It's the weirdest part about what I've seen. It's like, even if I make a copy of something or if I do something that I've done before, the chance of there being some issue down the line still exists.
Yeah, but so far, I mean, whenever we were still testing it, we had a bunch of issues like where the button would disappear, or it would say that it would let you upgrade higher than the max, because Starcores increase major traits on items, but they don't take them beyond their max potential. So legendary items 250 is still the max, but sometimes when we were testing, it would be like, your item's at 249, you can go to 259, and then when you hit it, it would only go up the one. So like, a lot of it was just like little text things, getting like the wording right on stuff.
Yeah, there were certain detection systems that had to be put in place, make sure that it was smoothed out.
I don't think anybody's actually, I know Vant was dropping Starcores before they were actually in the game, because I think you added them in as part of like working on the update, but they weren't supposed to drop yet, and he like dropped like several of them, I think, before they were officially in. But I don't think anybody's dropped one now that they are in yet that I know of. So I'm curious if everything will work once somebody actually gets one. Hopefully we don't have to wait till the 31st when everybody just gets one as a prize.
Yeah, the first time it's used is when everybody gets one for free. He did luck out getting a few of them early on, though, because I feel like the drop chance was a little bit higher. And I think the big thing was that it dropped from anything. So you could just be killing a random enemy, and next thing you know, just pop up.
Yeah, and he definitely kills a lot of stuff, so.
Kept clean sweeping.
Back to Spooky Month. There was a new pumpkin got added to the shop to go with Punky and Gutso. So now we have Gordon, who is the yellow pumpkin, and I'd have to pull up exactly what he does, but the other ones added Dex and Strength when you hit an enemy, and now Gordon is going to increase your crit damage when you hit an enemy, potentially. I think it's up to 20% chance. So maxed out, I think it's 20% chance to increase your crit damage by 10%.
Yeah, that's accurate. Yeah, 20% chance to increase your crit damage, and because that continuously stacks on top of itself, you can get a massive amount of crit damage built up.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's going to be as good as Gutso, because Gutso is borderline broken because he adds dexterity, so you eventually just like outspeed everything. But I guess you still have to like survive enough to get him like revved up and ready to go. So Gordon's probably going to be the same way. As long as you're like surviving the hits, you're just going to start dealing out tons of damage.
Yeah, it's kind of like an alternate version of the first pumpkin, Punky.
Yeah.
Because that one increases your strength, so you just continuously boost raw damage, while this one increases your critical damage, which long-term scales stronger than strength ever could.
Right, yeah. And I think Punky is a 5% increase, so this is a 10% increase, but your crit damage is probably going to be a lower number than your strength, depending. So it's I think it's gonna take some testing and stuff to figure out where it actually falls on the scale of companions, but I think it's a viable option. That being said, there is a bug where you can't actually upgrade Gordon. You can't imbue him at the blacksmith, because the button doesn't appear.
That one's being resolved, which should be done, I guess, kind of after this podcast. But it is a current issue. Since you can't upgrade it, it's kind of limited on how useful it actually could be.
Yeah, because mine only rolled like power level 10, and I think Vant rolled one and it was like power level 6. So we definitely need that upgrade button working. I think so. By the time this podcast is out, we should have an update where that's fixed.
Yeah, that'll be resolved by then.
Awesome, because I'm probably not going to edit this till tomorrow and then put it up. So we'll see. While we're on the topic of companions, we also added a new rare companion that you can purchase in the shop. So because it's purchasable for money, it's basically just a cosmetic. You know, it's better than a rare companion that can drop, but not as good as like one that you buy with crystals as a legendary. But I, in my opinion, I think it's the best companion because it's rad and he's a cat. It's based on my real life cat.
It's up there for design, and although it's not strong, kind of by design, it's definitely a style right there.
Yeah, basically one day I was thinking about like, we need some more stuff in the shop. And I need something that people are gonna want. So then I was like, well, what do people want more than anything else in a game, which is, in my opinion, that's gonna be a pet cat. So like any game that doesn't have a pet cat probably isn't worth playing, in my opinion. So now our game's worth playing, I think.
It's definitely notably different compared to the other companion designs, because a lot of them are like creatures of one sort or another, or things that you wouldn't conventionally have. Like we got a rat, we got a frog.
Yeah.
So this leans more towards like the normal end of what you would actually have as a companion.
Yeah, for sure. And I want to add eventually some more cats and make like a little, just a, it is Knobcat Games. We do like cats, so.
Should be a little cat barn in town. Just has a bunch of the different cat companions walking around.
A cat cafe.
Yep.
Could we just have some cats in town? Could like Rad just hang out in town too?
It actually could. There's nothing stopping us from adding any of the companions. It's just like passive little creatures in town.
You know what I actually want to do? This is maybe something for like off the air, but I want the companions and artifacts to float across the bottom of the loading screen when you're like loading in.
Kind of have them glide around.
Yeah, so like when it's loading, like maybe Rad just walks across the bottom, like it just grabs a random one and then like animates it across the bottom of the screen while it's loading.
I kind of like that because that just adds a bit more flavor to what you're stuck doing anyways.
Yeah, because I feel like our loading screen is kind of long. Like I don't know how we can make it any faster. Like we've already like addressed it a couple times to try and make it faster, and I think it just is what it is. The game has to load and it has to pull information from the sheet and stuff so to get the most updated info for everything. So I think it has to load, but if we had something like more visual on the screen when it was loading, I think it would feel less long.
I feel like you might as well. That way, like tips and other things are put into loading screens for that exact reason. It's just, if you're stuck loading, you might as well look at something.
So we either need to add companions walking across the bottom, or we need to add some tips, which the tips would probably be the easiest. Maybe we should add those first.
Yeah, that is just like a pile of text. Type them all up and then throw a random one at the player.
So those were the main things that were added in for Spooky Month. Starcore, not necessarily spooky. I mean, it is like a little skull, so I guess it's kind of spooky, but that was Spooky Month and Starcore update. I think that was everything. I think that's everything that got added in, other than like just a few little fixes and things.
Yeah, in terms of features, that is the brunt of it. Starcore, another round of the Spooky Month, new cat.
Yeah, so I want to get into our roadmap for future plans, but I think since we're at 20 minutes of recording already, we're not going to be able to cover the roadmap in 10 minutes. So I think that's going to get saved for next episode. Hopefully you can be on. If not, whoever's here, we can cover it and kind of go through our plans for future updates. I think that would be really interesting to people to let them know what we're planning and what we're working on.
Yeah, I feel like giving an update of future plans, definitely the way to go. Let them know what's up.
Next episode will probably be our normal schedule where we're, it's only 2 weeks from this one. And then hopefully we can get back on a normal podcast schedule. I think that would be good for everything. But I think this one is about over. Do you have anything else we should talk about? Any other bugs?
Nah, should be good.
In that case, let's wrap this thing up. If you're listening and you're not in our Discord, you gotta go to knobcat.com, find the link to our Discord. That's the place where you can ask us questions, get tips and stuff about the game. We're always in there. I'm always in there, so feel free to talk to me. I've also been trying to do a lot more stuff on our Instagram and our TikTok, which are both at Dungeons Obelisk. So check those out. Get at me on there. I changed my Twitch to twitch.tv/DodoOfficial. So now we have the official Dodo channel. I don't stream anything else anyways, so it's the official place for Dodo streams. What else? Leave a review in Steam if you like our game. That really helps us out. And we were also doing I started doing YouTube edited versions of the streams on Twitch. So now if you don't catch the Twitch stream, but you also don't have 3 hours to watch the video playback of it, you can hop on YouTube and watch the edited version, which is usually significantly shorter. The last thing is that we have dungeonsoftheobelisk.wiki as our website for all the information you need about the game. So if you want to look something up, find stats on mobs, find out what exactly all the companions and artifacts do, all of that stuff is on dungeonsoftheobelisk.wiki. And I think that's everything. We'll see you next episode. Bye.
See you.